Hey everyone, welcome back. All of the Rise of the Floodborn spoilers have now been revealed on the official Lorcana app, so I wanted to take some time and go through the top two cards of each color. So let's take a look. First up in Amber, we have Snow White. For 6 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 3/5 with 2 lore that has Shift 4. She also has the ability Wishes Come True. Whenever this creature quests, you may return target creature card from your discard pile to your hand. This card is pure gas. It is a must answer. If they're not able to remove it in 1 or 2 turns, you're just going to get your best creatures back turn after turn and win the game. This is an excellent card and one of the best in the set. The second card is the Queen. This is a 5 inkable casting cost for 3 with 2 lore that has Shift 2. This also has whenever this creature quests, one of their creatures gets -4 power, and one of your creatures gets +4 power. This is going to be excellent for those aggressive amber decks with small creatures. Being able to trade up and potentially even keep your creature alive is massive. And just like the last card, this is a must answer, especially if you have any board presence, or else this is just going to win the game on its own. The first card in Amethyst might be my favorite card in the set. For 5 inkable casting costs, you get a 3/4 with 2 lore with Shift 2. On top of that, whenever this creature quests, your other creatures get +3 power, and then when they're banished in a challenge this turn, they come back to your hand. I mean, this is an excellent card, excellent combo with all the other Amethyst cards that come down, draw you a card, and then you're looking for a way to recur them. This is the perfect way. Making your 2/2 Maleficent into a 5/2, trading into one of their big bodies, bouncing it back to your hand, and then playing again for another card. Or same thing with Merlin. This is excellent. This will take over a game. I'm super pumped for this card. Speaking of Merlin, here he is. For 4 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 2/3 with 1 lore that whenever he enters play and leaves play, you get to draw a card. This may not seem impressive. 4 non-inkable casting costs is a big deal. To only get a 2/3 with 1 lore, that is certainly far too expensive. However, the idea that you're getting a minimum of 2 card draw out of him, that makes it excellent. And if you get any recurrence with him, bouncing to your hand, Arthur, or Fairy Godmother like we just saw, makes this card excellent and will certainly give you all the gas you need to win the game. The first card up for Emerald is probably no surprise, and that is Belle. For 5 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 3/3 with 3 lore. This right here is a must answer. You cannot let this quest turn after turn getting 3 lore. On top of that, it does have Shift 3, so you might be able to play it out a bit earlier. The best part about Belle is that whenever she is challenged, your opponent has to discard their entire hand. So unless they only have 1 card in hand or they've been able to empty their hand, this makes it a really tough choice. They really need to answer her, and if they don't, they're going to lose the game. Next up for Emerald is Prince John. For 3 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 1/2 with 2 lore, as well as ward. This on its own does not seem fantastic, particularly in that it's non-inkable. And I'm usually not a big fan of combo decks where you need multiple cards to work together. But looking at all the discard mechanics green has, I think this is a way you play this card, you don't need to quest for it. If you want to quest for it, if they don't have a creature that can challenge back, you get 2 lore, but it might just sit there readied. And then you just cause them to discard card after card after card, and you're just filling your hand back up. In Ruby, we have Donald Duck. For 5 inkable casting costs, you get a 1/5 with 1 lore that gains additional lore for every damage you have on it. There's 2 ways to really play this. The fact that it has evasive just means you might just get in for a lore turn after turn. There are cards in Ruby that you're able to deal damage to one of your creatures to deal damage to one of theirs, so this is a quick way to pump lore. If they don't have a good answer, if you're playing Steel and they can do 2 direct damage at a time or Smash for 3 direct damage, they actually strengthen this creature, and so oftentimes you're going to have to send 2 or 3 cards to get rid of Donald. Overall, if this isn't dealt with as a big problem, this can also attack into some of their smaller creatures just to get damage, so you can start questing and getting more lore quicker. Next up is Lady Tremaine. For 6 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 3/4 with 2 lore and shift 4. When she comes into play, your opponent chooses and banishes one of their own creatures. This is a mini Maleficent Dragon, and we all know how much play Maleficent Dragon saw. This is an excellent card. The big drawback is that your opponent chooses which card to banish. So oftentimes, they're going to choose their weakest creature, or if they don't have a card in play at all, this card isn't going to do much. In Sapphire, we have another one of my favorite cards, Gueston. For 6 non-inkable casting cost, you get a 4/4 that quests for 3 lore and can shift 4. On top of this, when he comes into play, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and choose any one of them to keep. This really lets you get a big body into play that's able to quest for a lot of lore, and while you're at it, it's going to get you the answer for whatever you need. If you need more creatures, you choose a creature. If you need removal or card draw, you choose that. This is one of those things that is going to fix whatever problem you're having while putting pressure on the board. Excellent card. Cesu is a must answer. For 4 non-inkable casting costs, you get a 2/4 that quests for 2 lore. Cesu has a similar mechanic to Gueston in that you get to look at some of your cards and then pick one. However, rather than on play, it's every time this creature quests, you're able to look at the top 2 cards and put one into your hand. If this is not answered immediately, and this gets 1 or 2 quests off, this alone can take over the game. Next up, we have Steel. Beast is a 6 inkable casting cost, 2/8 with 1 lore. Whenever another one of your creatures takes damage, Beast instead takes that damage. Overall, this is a fantastic card. It's able to keep your key pieces of your deck alive, keeping your evasive creatures alive, or those creatures you really need to make your combo work. When you pair this with Resist and all the healing abilities in Amber, I really think this card is going to see a lot of play. And finally, one of the most exciting cards, a second Beast. For a 5 inkable casting cost, you get a 3/5 with 2 lore that can shift 3. He also reads, at the start of your turn, if this creature has no damage on it, you draw a card. This is fantastic. If he does have damage on him, he gets +4 power and is able to challenge one of their big creatures and take it out. On top of this, if you pair this with an Amber deck, where you're healing a lot of your creatures, you're often able to heal this beast, draw cards for healing, and then at the start of your turn, draw more cards as he doesn't have damage on him. And that is it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you really like this video, please hit subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite cards are, and I'll see everyone next time.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small.